On a Shadow Band podcast.
Yeah, give us an intro, Charlie. Come on, man. You're better at the intros than I am, man.
Welcome to Shadow Band podcast. Special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Alex Stein. Thanks for joining us.
Wow, that's very nice. Primetime 99, Alex Stein on the grind all the time, host of the Conspiracy Castle. I'm your conspiracy asshole. So, dude, thank you for letting me just come here and share a platform with you guys. I really appreciate it. I hope we can dive in to some weird occultic topics today.
We'll get into some stuff. I don't know what really. I didn't really prepare for this, to be completely honest with you, but we're here and we're doing it. So
you don't need to prepare with me, dude. I'm like a conspiracy encyclopedia. I mean, I know it all, but what do you guys think what's going on with the border? Have you guys seen all these freaking Haitian migrants?
I can't see it anymore because you can't fly fucking drones over it. So who the hell knows what's going on over there?
I know. Well, I'll tell you this much. I was just reading an article about it, and this is what I think is so funny. And, I do believe systemic racism exists, but the media will not even cover the border until there's a viral picture of a guy with a lasso, like slapping a guy, slapping a migrant. Then that fits the narrative perfectly. Everywhere. Now CNN and MSNBC, they won't stop showing that photo. So it just shows you, how hypocritical and biased the media is, how they can take, one story and it wasn't fitting their narrative, and then they find something about it that does fit their narrative, and then they exploit that like one thing. And that's why like the Mockingbird media that we have today sucks and is probably literally one of the biggest cancers of our society is the mainstream media.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. Honestly, we were talking about this on our 9/11 special, how they always like to put irrelevant details in their stories, like white police officer shoots unarmed black man. And it's like, how about we leave out the race aspect and we just call it what it is instead of trying to get all this hype going? You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is in our country, systemic racism does exist. Like you can say that, the FBI was racist to, Middle Eastern people after 9/11. You could say before that, obviously the government's racist to black people. You can say now at January 6th, the government's racist to white people. So I'm saying we do have like an unfair system that we have. So like the media bring attention to that, I guess is good, but it's like, dude, the corruption that we face from the higher up, it's all about division. And that's the problem with what's going on is we're so divided. We're more divided than we've ever been, according to the people that have lived through like, other racial tension eras of America.
Yeah, you'll never see them be like, oh, it's just good guys versus bad guys, cops versus criminals, east side, west side. It's something extra, ultra, uber divisive versus ultra, uber divisive. And then now you have to choose. Do you support the bad guys or you support the good guys? Well, what does that mean?
Well, it's weird. It puts them in like a conundrum where like when guys like Larry Elder are running for, governor of California, they have to call him a black white supremacist. It becomes a Dave Chappelle sketch.
Hey, it's Clayton Bigsby, baby.
Exactly. It really
if you got hate in your heart, let it out.
Exactly. And that's literally what I mean. And that's literally what they did. They said he is a black white supremacist. And that is a sketch in a famous TV show. So, maybe is that predictive programming? I don't know. We talk about conspiracies. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the media that ends up getting revealed to us in real life. And I think that's another thing. We're speaking of race, but Joy Reid just said that she's mad. And I kind of actually feel her on this is that I got to pull it up, but the Gabby Petito thing is called missing white woman syndrome, and that there's always a missing person of color that has a similar story that doesn't get the media shine that this does. Hold on, Joy.
This is a good point, man. I was saying this earlier and people were laughing at me on the Zuckerberg site, but like it's odd to me that there's hundreds of thousands of missing persons cases every year. This one goes viral. And if you look at the video of the cops talking to them before she went missing, the cop with the body cams got the 3 triangle dot tattoo on his hand. I don't know if anybody
666.
You know what I'm saying? A little Freemasonry going on. And everybody's like, oh yeah, bro, maybe he's just a Splinter Cell fan. And I'm like, yeah, maybe you're
3
right.
Triangle dot. Is that Hyrule?
Well, there's a lot of meanings for it. I mean, there's like mathematical meanings and shit, but one of them,
I thought that was some Zelda stuff.
One of the meanings is 666. It's Freemason shit.
Well, and that's why it's like, is this a psyop or is it real? But I tend to think it's real. But then here, let me do a screen share. Let me have the ability to share a screen. I just pulled this up. You have to see this because it's ridiculous. I think you just click the top of my screen. There's 3 buttons in the top right. I think it says allow. Let's see.
Fucking light is right in the way. I don't see that option here, bud.
Bud,
allow to multi-pin. Is that it?
Or go, you click screen share and then maybe it should say allow multiple people to screen share. I think it's
in some of the options somewhere.
Okay.
Maybe right click it.
Okay, sorry, I don't use Zoom enough to know what the hell I'm doing. Allow to multi-pin. I don't know if that's it. I just gave you that.
And then the top right corner. Okay, we'll go on the bottom where it says share screen. Okay. And then is there an arrow on is there an arrow or the right or
multiple participants can share simultaneously?
There you go.
Click that. Okay. And then hold on now. Let me share screen. And I just pulled this up, but I guess let's show the clip of her talking, which is
If you've been watching the news for the past few days or on Twitter or TikTok, you're probably familiar with the name Gabby Petito, the 22-year-old aspiring social media influencer who was reported missing after her fiance returned from their van life excursion without her. On Sunday, human remains believed to be Petito's were found in a national park in Wyoming. An autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow to confirm the identity. Now, it goes without saying that no family should ever have to endure that kind of pain. And the Petito family certainly deserves answers and justice. But the way this story has captivated the nation has many wondering, why not the same media attention when people of color go missing? Well, the answer actually has a name, missing white woman syndrome, the term coined by the late and great Gwen Ifill to describe the media and public fascination with missing white women like Lacey Peterson or Natalie Holloway, while ignoring cases involving missing people of color. Joining me now is Derica Wilson, co-founder and CEO of the Black and Missing Foundation, and Lynette Gray Bull, founder of Not Our Native Daughters, an organization
how they
created for the
compare
awareness of the missing, exploited, and murdered Indigenous women.
Okay, so look at the case that they compare, which is, in my opinion, not really comparable, but you'll see.
Up this point because there's a case that's so similar. A journalist friend of mine, Derica, sent me this story about a young, about some other people that are missing. There's one guy whose name is Daniel Robinson. Daniel Robinson is a young black man. He's only 24 years old, 5'8", 165, black hair, brown eyes. That's his description. His dad has hired a private investigator to find him. He's missing part of an arm. He was last seen driving away from his job site in the Buckeye.
So he's missing part of his arm, that's random. But real quick, when comparing this guy, which obviously we want to find this guy, Gabby Petito is, first of all, she's a white woman, but she's really pretty. She's a story of, it's like a domestic assault. She's 22. She's young. She's making a YouTube channel, traveling across the country with like a Instagram account. She's like almost an internet celebrity type person. So for her to, the reason why she's gaining national stories, there's so many factors that make it interesting. And this just shows you how ingenuine it is that Joy Reid is trying to compare this guy to her, to, this Gabby Petito story. It just makes you sick. But okay, hold on. Let's just finish watching it. Oh, shoot.
It's very similar. He's missing in the same part of the world. It's a case that it has all of that same kind of sizzle, the sort of mystery of it. This young man who just goes missing.
Struggling with that one.
I never heard of it until this friend of mine sent it to me. And I guess that's the issue, isn't it?
It is definitely the issue, and we have been sound.
And so that's the whole clip. So I'm just saying, that's just another example of that's just total division.
Yeah.
Whose fault is that, though? Is he missing an arm or is he missing?
I don't know. I don't even know that poor guy's
exactly. This story sucked. Sorry that guy's missing, but goodness gracious, we don't even know what the.
No, and there's a reason. So why do you guys think that? I think the Gabby Petito thing's an interesting story, and I happen to think it's real. All these people, that watch my show, I was watching. Oh, it's a hoax, and so I know you're just saying this with the 666. So what do you think? I mean, in my opinion, I have to say, as of right now, I'd like to get both of it, a definitive answer. I think it's real for some reason because it's just so good.
Sure.
I want it to be real.
Here's my whole thing, man. I think, first of all, nothing's a coincidence. And I think that,
Yeah.
sure, it's real. I'm sure the girl is missing and probably dead, right? I'm sure that that's all legit. But like,
But you don't think the Epstein Island, like you don't think she could be like on, the metaphorical Epstein Island in hiding? That's what the people think, that it's a hoax, that they're all actors, that they're crisis actors.
yeah, well, see, that's where I'm at. I'm kind of like halfway in between, right? Of course,
Yeah.
like if the girl's missing, like find the girl. And if the dude did it, fuck him up. You know what I mean? But like, what part of it is bullshit? Because why is this viral? But I kind of agree a little bit with that news article to an extent, because it is true. Like I was saying, there's hundreds of thousands of missing people every year. Why does this one go viral? Like, what is it that they're either distracting you from, or like what, you know what I mean? But they have to give you a little.
Oh, it's total distraction. It's total distraction. Yeah. And you're right. There's always different things. And like, why does the world latch on John Benet Ramsey or like these like white women, Princess Diana? I don't know. God forbid. I mean, who knows? People just like young white women. I mean, they're probably, whatever. They're likable girls. They don't like to see bad stuff happen. Well, I'm saying like murder mysteries. I'm just saying people, people just are interested in what's happening. But, with the Gabby Petito thing, it's meant to distract us 100%, but the media can take something real and use that to distract us at the same time. Right. So I'm not like an auto hoaxer. A lot of people are like that watch my show, that other shows I watch, like a guy named Russian Vids, RV, and David Weiss. You've had on the show. David Weiss is a friend of mine, and it's all freaking auto hoaxer, where everything is planned by the Jewish Illuminati, Freemasonry, and I do believe that they are controlling a lot of the stuff. But it's like, I don't know. I almost think it's too good to be true, because I spent over an hour looking at Gabby's face. I mean, looking at her social media and her dad's. Even her dad has a social media presence, and it looks real. And they've been posting since 2015 or 14 or whatever. So, I mean, they've been actors for 7 years. Or I guess you could always say that they find somebody that has a presence and then they cast them in this, hoax or whatever. But I just think that's it's got
to be, I haven't looked into this, so I'm just going to throw this out there, but it's got to be either like the date she went missing or the date that she was found. Like there's going to be numbers involved. There's going to be a certain occult date. Something is, you know what I mean, amiss here. Like, and they have to give you a little truth for their karmic bullshit, right? But of course, it's a distraction on some level, just like Afghanistan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they never let a crisis go to waste. So some white girl does get snatched up, and they're like, "Ooh, how can we run this?"
Right. Somebody needs to take her name and do the gematria or the whatever it is. One of those things is going to be like, "Oh," you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's sign, and that's what they use. They use signs and symbols to, secretly leave their stank on these things, so they can, I guess, communicate with each other that they know that it's some sort of.
Or the guy's hand tattoo. He's got the 666 hand tattoo.
That is weird. And dude, did you watch that video? Have you watched the video?
Yep.
That cop is being okay. Well, dude, this cop is being so nice, so much so at the end of it, they used it. Literally, he says this. The cop says, "Oh, we're going to use the company card and get you a hotel room." And that's in Utah.
Him a hotel room. They left her in a van. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, to get him, just to get anybody a hotel. I've never ever in the history of mankind heard of a cop getting and paying for a hotel room when reporting to a domestic violence situation. And that's probably is that I actually like the way they diffuse it. But then now looking back, and for a person that's saying it's real, if you're a person that believes it's real, if he takes Gabby to jail there, he saves her life, because she, has to call her parents. She has to go home. She doesn't have a chance to go missing. And that's what's crazy. It's like the story of there's people that got pulled over for a DWI and the cop let them go and end up crashing and killing somebody else that's happened, and they've killed themselves. And so for the ones that killed themselves, you're like, oh shit, if that cop would have taken you to jail instead of giving you a break, you would have been alive. And so it's weird to think.
Never do people favors.
I know. Well, it's weird to think, sometimes that cop could have saved your life you would never think arresting a person and charging with assault would save their life. But in that situation, it would have.
Yeah. I mean, hindsight's 2020. I don't know necessarily blame the guy or whatever, but it is some interesting shit. By the way, how's your relationship with her going? Because I know you got like a little thing going on and you've been talking about
Well, are you talking about Gabby? Man,
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
talking about
Gabby. Okay, dude, listen to this. We got to talk about how sick is this. Now, I see Charlie laughing because I'm getting all these complaints, and I didn't even want to go into my diatribe. In the video, in the police interview videos, Gabby's wearing like these like small shorts. She's wearing like this like midriff shirt, and her nipples are poking out. She has no bra on. She's 22 years old. You couldn't get more my type because anything younger than 22 is totally creepy, and still 22 is a little young. I'm 34, but I'm saying 22 is like I could still. That's fine. I don't care. You can make fun of me. So she's like the perfect hotness, young, everything good about her that is attractive. And I say I want to have sex with her, and I'm the biggest pervert, disgusting man in the world. And I get that. I guess that is kind of perverted, disgusting, but still, it's just because I can imagine a future I would have had with Gabby. I would have treated her a lot better. But yeah, the people getting
I would
mad
hope
at that.
so, bud.
I know, but all these people are like, I can't believe you'd say you'd sleep. She's dead. I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know about that one. I wouldn't tell her dad that to his face, but she's hot. She's look at her. If you watch her, even her YouTube videos, it looks like she's crying, but she just looks like a nice person. Like I'm saying, she looks like a person I would like already. I mean, obviously you can fake her for YouTube, but she just seems likable, her character, whatever, you know what I mean? So that makes me even more attracted to her. So
Have we seen the missing arm guy's TikTok?
No, we need to see his TikTok, but I'm sure he's dancing. I'm sure he's doing
Can we have a case closed on that? That's not even the same thing.
Yeah, I think that proves it.
It's like, oh, what about like H3, whatever his name is, or like
Ethan Klein? Talking about H3,
yeah. Oh, he went missing, and everybody cares about that. But what about this? The guy at some Burger King somewhere. It's like, listen, they're not the same.
No.
Sorry. And look, this went viral on like social media, like Facebook, and people sharing the story around. There were some people. There's a lady that went missing locally here in Orlando, and they like found her. She like drove her car into a lake or something like that, and it was like a big thing around like nationally. But then it was like really big here because it blew up here, and then people shared it, and they don't obviously live here. So they have family that lives all over. So like things blow up organically, and then they spread. Yeah. And there's Facebook groups for it and everything. So if like, I don't know, man, these black missing people thing, their PR team is not doing that good.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I guess some stories get naturally, organically viral, and some don't. Some are pushed by the media. Hey, but tell me this. So you're in Orlando. I was dating this girl in Tampa, and that's the only time I've flown all year, and the only time I put on a freaking mask. Basically, this whole pandemic, I put it on in the plane. And it's so annoying. But I'm saying in Tampa was pretty chill. I didn't have to wear a mask once, but I heard Orlando is pretty annoying about the mask. So Charlie, is it not really, or is it just, I guess, at theme parks and crap like that, where I guess that'd be normal?
It depends where you go. Like Disney will make you, but we went to Universal and Volcano Bay, and like they don't care. They're like,
they didn't care. Universal.
Yeah, I went to Universal, and like they'd come up to you and say, "Put your mask," and I'd be like, "Sure." And then as soon as the guy would take it off, and like
because if you have a soda, I mean, what the hell can they say? You can't wear a mask while you're drinking a soda. So I would just have a Coke the whole time. Be like, what the hell? I mean, how am I supposed to drink? You know what I mean?
I mean, the rules are getting crazy now. Like you can only have a drink if you're sitting down.
Wait, what? Wait, tell me the rules. See, I didn't know that. See, I would try to subvert it because on the plane I had my mask down a lot because I was eating, but like I even still followed it. Because I didn't want to fucking start a fight. I just want to sit on the 2.5 hours.
You didn't want to start a fight?
No, I love fighting. I'm saying I love starting fights, but dude, it was 2 hours and 9 minutes. I was on a Spirit Airlines flight, so I was already in hell, dude. I was like, dude, it was.
They'll ground that thing and kick you off.
It was like a $29 flight round trip or something. I was like, man, fuck this. I had to carry on back. I was like, and I didn't have my mask on in the, I was sitting on or anything. I just literally put it on right before I walked on this. It wasn't as bad, and I'm so anti-mask. Me wearing on that fucking plane sucked, but it wasn't as bad. Like I'm like fighting people about the mask, and you shouldn't put on the mask. But at some point, like you shouldn't ruin your life or lose your job if you have to put on a mask for a little bit. Like we live in a society with rules. I'm based in reality. It fucking sucks. The rules are fucking stupid. And I would never get a vaccine. But the mask, like I was like dying on that hill. But shit, for some people, their livelihood depends on wearing a fucking cloth mask. I don't know. It's, I don't want to tell that person to ruin their life or quit their job.
Here's basically the rule. The rule is when you go into the restaurant, there's an invisible antiviral barrier that surrounds each and every table. So when you get to the table, the fucking virus can't touch you, bro. Science, bro.
Well, dude, they just asked him. They just asked the head of the FDA or the CDC, where did the 6 feet rule? And he just said, oh, it's just arbitrary. We just made it up. I mean, these rules, that's the same with all these rules. They're just arbitrary. They're just like mitigating tactics. They're not even based in like something to compare with. They just figure, oh, well, if you socially distance yourself from other people, you're less likely to spread something, which I guess naturally makes sense. I mean, unless you interact with people, I guess, the less shit spreads. But the fact you're wearing a mask all day, I mean, bacterial pneumonia, I mean, there's no way it's healthy. And then all the graphene oxide that's in the testing and in the mask, none of this shit. It's not natural for a human to wear a mask all day when this is an exhaust. I mean, it's literally we're supposed to exhale out of our mouth, and then restricting that all day is to me a form of torture. And I don't think all the moms that say that online at the school board meetings and all the cringe lectures like, oh my God, it's not torture to wear a mask. But it really is. To me, it really is freaking torture to wear a mask all day.
It's a muzzle, dude. It's like you say, man, it's trauma-based mind control. And speaking of that, I want to ask you about this video, man, because where I found you was about a year ago when your video went viral of you going to Target, all masks matter.
Yes.
Dude,
where is it at? It's somewhere.
That shit was gold, bro. Like he goes to the door and everything, and he's like, show me where it says it, bud. And I'm fucking shopping, fuck you. That shit had me dying, man.
But isn't that so pathetic though? It's like that is a viral video, is me being able to shop in a Zorro mask. I mean, and I loved it. I'm not hating on it, but it's like society is so dumb. I say this all the time on my show, and people are like, get a new bit. But A&W Root Beer, they were actually one of the first fast food restaurants. They were like, they sold hot dogs. And so they did they were trying to get in the hamburger business. And this was like in the 70s or 80s, I believe. And they wanted to compete with McDonald's and McDonald's quarter pounder. And so what they did is they did a nationwide market survey asking people what they thought was a better value. And it was the third pound burger for $3.99 or the quarter pounder burger for $4.29, slightly more. And everybody picked the quarter pounder for like the 20 cents more. And they're like, why is that? Well, overwhelmingly, they thought 1/4 was bigger than 1/3. So that's how dumb America is. They literally don't even know how to do a simple fraction. They don't know the difference between a quarter and a third. Like they can't even do, they couldn't even break down their own change at CVS working the register if it didn't tell, if it didn't tell them what to do. I'm just saying that shows you how smart we are. We're seriously idiocracy. And the reason why is because we don't want to do the work. We don't want to think. Like, I don't want to do the math problem in my head of a third or fourth bigger. So I kind of understand why we're so stupid, because it's just easier to be dumb, stupid, and fluoridated than it is to be like, a tiger and smart and thinking on your own and an independent, thought.
What do we call that, person. Charlie? The fluoride stare.
Calcified,
bro. Yeah, man.
And that's another thing. Okay, and I'm already on my ranting, but then I watched another guy. He had a good point. He said, oh, that's so. And I always talk about my freaking pineal gland being calcified and drink all this Diet Dr. Pepper, which my shit's fucked up. But it's not just about your pineal gland. Like, there's other ways to ascend. I mean, our pineal gland is very important. Remember that. I'm not saying don't, whatever, drink a bunch of fluoride. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying there's more ways. The way we ascend to our spiritual being is not just based on our pineal gland, though. It's also based on our actions, based on our diet. There's a lot of stuff to it. So that's like this new age thing. We're like, oh, if my pineal gland's fine, everything else is fine. No, the way you ascend is you have to have a lot of stuff in order. And that's what they say. I'm hearing this from other people. That's how you ascend spiritually, is when you don't have all this stuff poisoning your mind, body, and soul.
That's dude. I drink pure cranberry juice made by Lakewood, not from concentrate, and it's at such a high iodine level. All the places where like fluoride and bromide and all that stuff builds up on your thyroid and your pineal gland, the iodine will remove it and occupy its space. And your body iodine's supposed to be there. So it flushes it all out and then occupies that space, and it, protects you from that stuff. So I take a shot of that twice a day.
That's what everybody said. Yeah,
I've been taking hella vitamins for like the last couple months, right? I just got over the Rona, right?
Me too.
And yeah,
still have it.
And dude, I was taking beforehand, and this is like some synchronicity shit. I know you've talked to Mark about synchronicities and stuff like that before, but I literally one day, like 2 months ago, I was like, man, let me get some vitamin D, let me get some beets, right? Let me get some magnesium, all these little things. And bro, I had a mild cold and some Biden brain, and that was it, dude. And like in less than a week, I went from sick to not sick. You know what I mean? no jab, no monoclonals, none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? And
All
I
natural,
really-
baby.
all
Yeah,
natural,
I
raw
was
dog in life.
like everybody else. I was sick too as a dog, but this girl that I was dating at the time, she was getting tested for work, and she never tested positive for COVID. But I was sick, like I couldn't taste anything. And I didn't take anything. I didn't even take vitamins. I should have. I just didn't want to. I used to take a bunch of vitamins, but then I get all nervous that they cause kidney stones. But then I drink Diet Dr.
I was
Pepper,
gonna
so
say.
now I know. But listen, this is why it sounds crazy. Is I'm not straight edge, but like I used to dip. I mean, this has been years now. But like I don't dip. I don't drink. I do smoke weed. I like smoking weed, but that's the only thing I do. I don't drink alcohol, and I mean, so what I'm saying is then I was taking vitamins, and then I read a bunch of shit on you're taking these vitamins from China and you don't know what's in them. And they're not necessarily good for you.
I order
like,
all
I don't-
mine from Alex Jones, but I'm not afraid to say.
Yeah, no, why not? I mean, he says his are good, but fuck, even Alex Jones's that are quality tested. What the fuck do you know? I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not even anti-vitamins. I was taking a bunch, but now it's been like a year where I kind of stopped. It's been about 2 years. Ever since I stopped eating meat, I stopped taking a bunch of vitamins. And I actually need to be taking a B12 supplement. They recommended that because I got my blood work done not that long ago, and everything was fine, but I was a little deficient in whatever the cells.
You sound so sad about that.
I am. Well, I was sad because I just thought, I don't know. I don't like that I had to take supplements. I thought I could be like supplement free. But what supplements do you take? I know, but what do you take? You take a multivitamin? What else?
I take a multivitamin. I take vitamin D with calcium, magnesium, like drink that I mix in my thing. I take those liquid IVs plus immune. So it's like it's like 500% of your daily vitamin C, B, blah, 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 blah.
You take a liquid IV every day too? You drink that every day?
2 of them every day. I'm drinking 1,000% of my daily vitamin C.
His pee looks like lightsaber fuel.
Actually,
yeah, I mean,
it's clear. I have clear piss.
It is. I believe it. I mean, it kind of cancels out everything. Okay, and then so that's it. So you take the 2
and beets. I drink beet water. I mix beets in my water.
Dwight Schrute. What do you mean? What do you mean you drink beets? Why? I keep on hearing you talk about beets. This is the third time with beets. What is? Beets, and I like beets. I'm saying in my salad, I love beets in my salad. They're sweet. They're delicious. I'm a beet fan. But
it's really good for your circulation and a whole bunch of other shit. But I figure if I'm pumping a bunch of vitamins in myself and they're not getting around any good, then
that's where you get calcifications.
Yeah, I need to start getting on the iodine, bro, and the selenium. Those are the 2 things that I'm lacking on right now.
The selenium, yeah, I've heard about that, and the iodine. And then they say for the pineal glands, Shilajit. Have you ever heard of Shilajit?
Is she legit?
Shit.
Yeah, I know. That's what it sounds like. It's called Shilajit, and you guys can Google it. And that's supposed to like decalcifies your pineal gland. It doesn't get more new agey than that. So I don't know. And it's like this tarry, like tree resin, substance. It's kind of weird. I have some. I've taken it before. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm so fucked, like you were saying earlier, from the trauma-based mind control. We live in the world where there's this like fake matrix, this political correctness that everybody ascribes to, and then there's like the real world where like there's like military industrial complexes and private prison industries that like just benefit from like the torture of mankind. And so it's hard to like kind of put one foot in the fake world where you're like watching the Emmys and making fun of a girl's dress because it says tax the rich or whatever the hell. And then, and you kind of want to play that game. And then the other day, and then you want to put your foot into like, getting out of the matrix into like the existential nightmare that they're like hiding the creator and telling us that we're all insignificant and that like, basically mandating a medical treatments and vaccines for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that's nuts. My dad asked me yesterday, he's like, now that you got the Rona, what do you think about getting a vaccine later? I'm like, you know what I think? I think that if Donald Trump won, no one would take a vaccine.
Well, that's why I don't like Trump anymore. See, I was a big Trump fan, and then I lost all respect for Trump because he became a vaccine salesman. And then on top of this, he really screwed over those people on January 6th. But before I say that, now that you've had COVID, for anybody that asks you ever to get the vaccine, you can even say, and you can point to their study in Israel, just said that you have your own antibodies from 27 being positive. Times. Yeah, it's better than any vaccine. So you're like, what the fuck? Why would you should tell you that. Why would I take a vaccine?
People are falling for the rewrites, man. The rewrites of everything, right? So now all of a sudden, if you get something, whether it's the cold or whatever, you know what I mean? Now all of a sudden the antibodies aren't a thing, right? Because it used to be oh, if you get a cold or you get the flu or whatever, like every time you get a cold, it's a different, like variant if you want, right? Because your body beat the last one. You know what I'm saying? That's why there's a new flu shot every year. It's always different because
Yeah, but those flu shots are garbage. I'm telling you. I mean, listen, and we've had the flu for whatever 80 years, or they've had the flu shot for 80 years, and we haven't got rid of the flu. The problem is the COVID's real. It's the SARS virus, and I had a friend in college. I mean, this was 10 years ago that got COVID or not got SARS. It got sudden acute respiratory syndrome and had to be put on a medically induced coma and then on a ventilator. And this is in 2012, I believe. So I'm saying there is SARS, there is COVID, there is, a real respiratory illness. But the problem is all these people are so stupid when they say the flu is non-existent. And the people are like, oh, we got rid of the flu because of masks. People can't fucking see the flu and COVID are the same thing. I'm like, are these people retarded? And I don't even like saying that word. I don't even like that word. I'll say any word, but I don't really necessarily like that word because maybe I'm a little retarded myself. But that's so annoying. These people actually think they eradicated the flu. Give me a break.
Instant conversation ender. They're like, oh, well, the flu's gone because, masks and social distancing. Like, I'm gone.
Yeah, well, what about heart disease? What about the heart disease one?
Oh, that's also down proportionately.
Yeah, that went away.
And I think if the number, you can quote me on this, I think it's 600,000 people a year. I think it's Americans die of heart disease. It's actually the number one killer in America. And dude, I haven't heard one medical official, not one. Leanna Nguyen, the head of the CNN, this bitch every day. Oh, you got to take a vaccine. The only way out is this vaccine. Not one person. Hey, I go exercise for 45 minutes a day. Get every patient that's been dead has no vitamin D. Go get some sunlight. I mean, they can't even recommend eating unprocessed food. If the news was to say, hey, maybe you should eat more fruits and vegetables and exercise 45 minutes a day, they would get called racist or ableist or some shit. I mean, this is what we live in, the world we live in, where you can't even recommend like normal good health tactics because that goes against the pharmaceutical industry and the potential profits that they can make from a vaccine.
Well, this is the lack of consistency in thought, because if you go back a couple of years, remember Michelle Obama was on that whole everybody get healthy and exercise, and you saw videos of Biden and Obama running around the White House and shit, and everybody was like, yeah, dude. And those same people now are what you're talking about. They're big pharma fucking yep. Inconsistent.
They were all saying like, when Trump was putting through Operation Lightspeed, like, I'll never take a vaccine that's got his name on it. I'll never take blah, blah, blah. I guarantee you if he won, there'd be no vaccine pushes right now or any of that. None of them would be taking it. They'd be like, no, that vaccine's garbage. And this whole thing would be gone.
I don't know. I disagree because Trump is just crooked. This is the problem: is the world is run by multinational corporations that can influence all these politicians through lobbyists and political action committee. Yes, and fascism is the definition of fascism is the merger of corporation and state, and that's basically where we're at. So we're the only country where insulin costs $200, but in Mexico and Canada it's $2, because the people that rule that actually write the rules are all controlled by lobbyists. Like even if Trump was in the White House, these media people would just say, oh, well, maybe this is the anti-Trump vaccine, Pfizer, like the companies would somehow distance themselves. There'd be a way to brand it as this is the one Trump likes. Trust me, because at the end of the day, the television industry is dying. We know that they are the only way that CNN and all these places, all these networks can survive is on advertising. And the only people that can actually afford to advertise are not small businesses like, the auto mechanic shop, or whatever. It's these huge multinational pharmaceutical companies. So they rely on them so much so. So trust me, it doesn't matter who's president. As long as we have a TV or news or media, they're always going to be controlled by the pharmaceutical companies that are always going to push the pill. They're always going to push whatever vaccine, whatever they can sell.
Yeah.
And that's never going to stop, because this is the only thing. And I said it again. I mean, I said it once and I'll say it again. As always, there's a reason insulin costs $200 in America. And now maybe it's down to $75 or whatever. But still, that's too expensive when it's free anywhere else. Doesn't make sense. Well, that's the only place they can run commercials.
The only reason that Brian Helter Skelter Stelter is still on air, because nobody watches that dude. And even if you did, you fucking hate him because he's a dumbass, right? I watch all of his stuff. I follow him on social media and Instagram. I do too. It's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, like Jon Stewart's back on TV again. What's that other dude that was on? It was like my next guest is Letterman. He was like, "Oh, I'm retiring." 6 months later,
He had a Netflix
back on
show or
Netflix.
whatever.
And it was
Or
like,
But the
Howard
worst
Stern.
is the worst is Howard Stern, dude. I'm a diehard Stern fan, and Stern sucks. He's the biggest. Oh, we need mandates. You know, he was this free speech guy, and what's made me even more sick is he just did this whole bit about how he's bashing Alex Jones, and like he was talking, and obviously it's like an Alex Jones impersonator, but he's like, Howard, you know, I got to get this out. And Howard said some joke like, "Do you even have an audience? Are you even allowed on the radio anymore?" And Howard Stern was this guy that's supposed to be this free speech advocate in early 2000, and he was the one that was taken off, you know, the air, and he was, "Oh, I'm going to lead the revolution of free speech," and he's bashing a guy, Alex Jones, that got censored. I'm like, wow, he really did the full heel turn. He is 100% the opposite of what he was, because he's happy that Alex Jones is censored. It's like, man,
well, yeah,
fuck
when they threatened his paycheck, he's like, "Oh, hold on a second, let's
He's getting
rethink that free speech."
$100 million a year back in the day. Well, you know, the numbers are probably fake as fuck, but he was getting $100 million a year to be himself, and he wasn't paying his fucking people worth of shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, he's a fucking piece of shit. Fuck that guy.
Dude, his what is Scott the engineer? I think he was with him like 27 years. The guy's wife dies and he fires him like shortly thereafter.
Oh,
I mean, he's just not a nice guy, and like he's just ingenuine, because when Robin had a cancer scare, they never mentioned it. And I get it, you can keep your medical issues private. That's fine. But like, she was not in the studio for nearly like 2 years. They never mentioned it. He's just weird. There's always the elephant in the room with like the way he treated Artie and all this stuff. He never mentions it. So it just shows you he has no integrity, he has no character. He's just like basically this fake shell of a person that works for the New World Order, that's like pushing whatever agenda that his handler or that the person above him now. Like, I would never thought there's people above Howard Stern, but now I realize there's people that tell Howard Stern what to do a lot of it. I mean, you know, they encourage him what to do at least.
Yeah, well, there's I don't know where I heard this. I think I heard this on Tripoli's show, where they have fucking like conventions where these people go to, and they get excuse me, they get homework, they get damn handbooks on, here's what we're going to talk about over the next couple of years, and here's how you're going to present it. And it, you know, it's all these influencers and celebrities that are going to there's literally conventions of how we're going to, you know, manipulate the masses. You know what I'm saying?
It's like Davos, Council for Foreign Relations, trilateral commissions, and they have the celebrities speak at them and like speak their agenda talking points, and they don't even know. I mean, Scientology used to do that all the time. Like Scientology, when they'd be opening new, they'd open like these, you know, multi-million-dollar complexes in like a big city. Oh shoot, and open like in this big city, and they would get like the local politicians to speak, and these politicians wouldn't even realize they were like speaking at like Scientology events. So then they'd like take pictures of like the, you know, so it'd make it look like, you know, the mayor of San Francisco is a Scientologist and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're out in the lobby like, what's with all these aliens around here?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, a lot of people don't know this. I'm sure you know this, Alex, but L. Ron Hubbard helped start NASA.
Oh yeah, dude, with Jack Parsons.
Jack Parsons, Werner von
Parsons.
Braun, and L. Ron Hubbard. There's NASA. There you go.
Dude, yeah. So you're just figuring that out, Jeff?
No.
You
I
had
know.
David Weiss on. Oh yeah. You had to know
space
that.
has been fake for me for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it goes back to like, I mean, you just look at for the fact that L. Ron Hubbard is so influential is weird. I mean, he was able to create like this. I mean, I guess he's the only modern day new religion that is like, I guess, accepted. I don't know any new. I'm sure there's new cults and stuff, but his is like the modern day biggest new age religion. So that's already weird. Like that he created that. That's like almost and
Walt Disney. Walt Disney was in that group too.
Yes, but this is where it gets weird for me is that they were all into black magic, satanic black magic, and they would do these, you know, spells like with Aleister Crowley, and they would have like do sex magic. And the guy that he looked up to, Aleister Crowley, I read this story about him. This is like one of the grossest things I can't believe he would do. He would like walk around. It was called a party trick that he would do. Like there'd be like a gathering, you know, like 20 people in like a creepy house or something, and they'd all be like doing drugs. And he would walk around and he would find the person with like the worst breath. And it'd always be like this is how it was described. I'm just reiterating how it's described. It'd be like, you know, they'd have like nasty whores there and stuff. And he'd find like the nastiest whore at the party. And he'd like the person with the nastiest breath. And he would have them spit in his mouth like repeatedly. Yes, he would have other people. Yeah, he would have other people like smell the person's breath and be like, look, smell how foul this woman's breath is. And then that was like his party trick. He would walk around and have the person spit in his mouth. I mean,
dude,
what trick is that called?
Shit,
I don't know. And this is another trick he would do is that he would they didn't know if it was real or fake. This is like what they said that he really did. And obviously I don't believe this. I'm sure he had like a plan. But supposedly like Aleister Crowley would do this thing. He'd be like in New York City on a busy street, and like there'd be like somebody walking to work, and Aleister Crowley would like start mimicking like the person like with their briefcase or something, and then Aleister Crowley would fall, and then supposedly the other guy would fall too, and then people were like, "Oh, Aleister Crowley can summon him, can control him," and so I don't, that just sounds like a bullshit ass story. It doesn't even sound that cool. If you could summon him, summon him to do something cool, like summon a girl to make out with you, or I don't know. I mean, summon something cool, not just somebody tripping over their briefcase. It just seems pretty innocuous, pretty stupid.
That's some Chris Angel stuff.
Yeah,
like,
it is some
okay.
Chris Angel.
All right.
Well, Chris Angel, that's where they got all that vibe from. See, that Chris Angel, like, I actually love magic, like Penn and Teller, all that stuff. I've always liked that. Who doesn't like it? Everybody likes it. Yeah. David Blaine, all that stuff is cool. What is David Copperfield? But like, well, you know what I mean? I don't know if I really necessarily, but all magicians, I'm just saying that even though magicians are, it's kind of like a gay thing, it's still cool.
It's
magicians
fun, dude,
are cool. Yeah, it's cool. But like Chris Angel, that's where his whole vibe was. Like, he's just an actor, and that's all from the occultism. I didn't know that, but all that symbology and all that stuff. It's very easy to go to Hot Topic and be a goth and be a occultic. And that's Aleister Crowley. Is what I'm trying to say is that's all just kind of like this subgenre of counterculture. And that's where Aleister Crowley, L. Ron Hubbard, Jack Parsons, NASA, Walt Disney, Werner von Braun, like all these people were connected. And it goes back to World War II. That basically the Nazis didn't lose the war. They just got implanted over here in America through Operation Paperclip, and we're calling the shots. And the ones that weren't, were living in South America. So it's really a messed up situation.
Yeah, and not just Werner von Braun starting NASA, but I forget the other guy's name. Kramer and I went over this one day, but there was another Nazi scientist who's the guy who did all the MK Ultra shit and all the this project.
Yeah, I forget his name. But I mean, dude,
but that's all that stuff that they use now. If you think about like our entire culture, Western society is basically based on what comes out of NASA and what comes out of all of what the MK Ultra and Stargate shit was, and that's what everybody just trust the experts, right? Those experts that everybody's trusting, they're just following the blueprints that these fucking Nazis started, right? The thing that drives me the craziest is when I see like these really super liberal people, when they were back a couple years ago, punch a Nazi while wearing a NASA shirt. I'm like, you, my friend, deserve a swift kick in the nuts because you're an idiot.
Well, everybody's a Nazi. That's the annoying thing is everybody's a Nazi. Trump's a Nazi. This is a person. I mean, and it's just used so incorrectly. So it's lost its meaning. And that's what everything's like. Everything's lost its meaning. Everything's based on.
Well, it's like now actual Nazis, actual brown shirts action going on. And it's like, no, that's not Nazi.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
We're not asking for your papers. Giving you the mark on giving you the gold star on your shirt.
Oh, you can't work anymore because you don't have
that's not Nazi.
Dude, the biggest bullshit is they say voter ID is racist, but showing an ID and vaccine passport to buy a hot dog is not racist.
I can't believe I'm going to say this and put it on the internet, but I got to give BLM a little bit of credit here because I don't know if this is true, but I read today that they're going to be protesting against
they went to
the
vaccine.
Mines. They're gonna protest the vaccine passports because it's racist, and I'm like, you're actually doing something here. Like, good for you on this one, like I gotta give you a little bit of credit.
See, and that shows you that you're able to open your mind. And I'll go protest with Black Lives Matter against these, mandates. Like I'm willing to I'm willing to open my mind. That's the problem is people are too dug in ideologically. I can't even say it's this identity politics. And these people don't even want to think for themselves. So they think like, oh, I want to be pro-abortion. That's the biggest people that are pro-abortion are gay guys that can't even have an unplanned pregnancy. I don't even understand that. So it's
actually
weird.
They can. We established this already.
I guess we did actually say men can get pregnant, but it's weird how everything's about your identity. It's not even like about what's right or what's wrong or being able to change your mind. Everybody's dug in, but this is the point I also want to make earlier. This is like the people want to break everything down to this, either race, gender, or victimhood. And if you don't fit into one of those things, like you're not one of the marginalized people of those, then like you are an oppressor. So that's kind of the system that we have.
Or a colonizer.
Yeah.
But where do you think that comes from? Because I imagine like a lot of the people at the top fall into the oppressor category of their cultures.
No, it
Oh,
comes
for
from
sure.
So
there-
Well,
I
that's
think
the
like the
plan.
people at the top over in like the U.S. and the Western side are like probably white, and the people at the top over in like the Middle East are probably Middle East, and they probably think of themselves as like,
Here's where it comes from.
oh,
It
those
comes from
old Middle Eastern guys are
fun-
the oppressors.
It's all trust fund kids and think tanks, dude. Rich kids and think tanks. That's where it comes from. That's why you see AOC with that stupid ass fucking dress with a masked dude, her fucking servant, carrying the back of the dress while nobody else has a mask, and she's wearing a tax the rich dress at a fucking, what was it, $230,000 a table event. And the designer of the dress is in debt to the IRS. Oh, oops.
Yeah, no, it's very hypocritical. I mean, it's absolutely unreal. Gosh, I was gonna make a point, then I forgot.
Here, I'll
had
help
a
you out. So
specific-
going back to Walt Disney, you guys hear they're going to thaw his body out later this year?
Well, that's another thing, the
What?
cryo thing. Well, they say the people that are cryogenically frozen, I don't know if they can. I've watched this like HBO thing, and they said when you unfreeze it, the person's like liquid goo that like the brain doesn't stay hard. So what do you mean, Jeff? Are you just saying that facetiously, or have you really heard that?
No. I read a
unfreeze it?
thing today, and again, I don't know if it's real, but I read an article. Well, I didn't read the whole article. I'm not going
Yeah,
to
like
bullshit
you
you.
ever thawed frozen ham?
Yeah, I mean,
Slimy as hell, dude.
it is.
look,
I never thought of frozen ham. I imagine it's slimy. I mean, that's what they say. A human body turns into some sort of soup because, like, a lot of people freeze their cats and stuff, and then people like within their lifetime. Well, people within the lifetime wanted to go get their cats, and then this cryogenic place gave them back the cat, and it was just like a bunch of goo, you know.
Cat
And so,
soup, baby.
you know, that's one of the things that just tells you how it's a money making scam. They charge you like $50,000. They say you're going to freeze your cat, and then you
Oh
try
my
to go get
God.
it back while you're still alive, and they hand you like a container of
A
goo.
ladle.
Yeah, basically.
that's fucking
I mean,
hilarious.
that's like.
I don't
really
know what they're
cry-
going to do with Disney, man. I mean, maybe they're going to use his fucking DNA to do cloning or some crazy shit. You know, that's the first thing that popped in my
Could you
mind.
imagine if what if it was so planned? He's like, he knew all this coronavirus shit was going to happen. And so now this is the time, 2021, or he's perfect time for him to come out in 2022 and be reanimated. I mean, I'm just bullshitting, obviously, but what a weird time to be alive. You know, I'm so happy to be alive now, but like, I just can't believe the people that died. The people that I know that like died before coronavirus or something. It's like the world is just so different than it was 2 years ago. And so what I'm saying is just think about how different it's going to be 2 years from now. It's going to be unrecognizable.
I'm a little worried about it, but I try not to let it. I'm trying not to let him steal my loosh like Triple.
Well,
H
you
does all the
guys,
time,
yeah.
you know?
I mean, yeah, but then you think about it, it's like you're in Orlando and you're in like in this nice place. You don't even think that it can like be affected by like the end of the world or some apocalyptic event. But at the same time, if they just turn off the internet or the power, like they do rolling blackouts, like in my opinion, this is what I think. I think the coronavirus and all of the mandates and all of this stuff was just a beta testing to see how it would react for the climate change lockdown, because Trudeau has been going around talking about how we need to have the same sort of gusto for climate change that we've had in solving the, pandemic. We need to use that same sort of effort to solve climate change. So very easily it's going to be, oh, we got to stay in your house. We're going to have rolling blackouts. And I've lived in Texas my whole life. I mean, I've lived in other places temporarily, but I've been here my whole life. Texas has never, ever, ever had rolling blackouts. And because we had a winter storm recently, it got so cold, they had to turn the power off when people needed it the most. And so and it caused people to die, all kinds of issues. So very easily they turn off the power, they turn off the internet for a very short time. We could be totally
2 weeks, right? 2 weeks to flatten the curve with no internet.
Yeah, I mean, that would start a civil war because people would want to be breaking into people's houses for food. I mean, I would need cat food. I would have to break into the CVS or the grocery store. So, I mean, everybody would have to feed their baby. Somebody would probably kill somebody to feed their baby. Like,
bro, Piers Morgan and Bill Maher would be freaking
this
Rambo
guy.
out there, dude, with the bandolier.
oh, look at the 30-day supply and see
I got
how much
multiples.
rice. So how many of the 30?
I got multiple.
So you're gonna be fine. Have you eaten of it? No. Have you eaten? You need to make a video though. I need to order one of those and then make a video. But you should try. You should make a video for your channel. That would be hilarious. That would get views. Testing, doing like a food review of that, dude. You have to.
100%. Should I put it on like
100%
nice plates and like a white tablecloth and all that?
Well, do you have to open it all at once, or are there individual meals in there, right? There's
well,
like
it's not individual meals.
aren't there?
It's like bigger packs. So like, you'll get like 4 days worth of rice out of one pack, and there's like multiple packs of rice in there. So you kind of gotta,
Well, you just need to open one for the video. I don't know how expensive it is. If you need to make something and do a food review, that would be fun. I mean, I might steal that idea. How much are those a bucket? That'd be a hilarious content.
30 days.
What is it? Well, everybody does it.
No, go ahead.
How much is it?
Like
how much is it? 130. 130. Everybody does. Yeah, but have you seen the bit, Jeff, where like the people live off just Alex Jones supplies for like a month?
Ugh,
I have.
That sounds like hella gas.
It is kind of hellish, but they always act like it's way worse than it is. They're probably just fine. They're like, they took brain force the whole time. They're probably smarter than they ever were. They were able to get this cool video done. So obviously the Alex Jones supplements worked for, them getting their job done. Okay, what Alex Jones supplements do you take though? You're saying you take them. Which ones do you take? The brain force? Which one?
No, well, I used to take some brain force. I used to order the real red pill from him and shit. I don't know where my things are. I don't know. I got a few of them from him. The vitamin.
But did you notice anything from the brain? Did you notice anything from the brain forcing or not really? Did it make you feel more energetic? I'm low energy lately.
Listen,
what is your guys?
At the time, I was like a heavy pot smoker, so like it didn't really. It kind of just
cancels it out. Yeah, but I've been low vibrational, and then we talked about that. Like lately, there's something in the air that's going on. Like I don't have the same like energy at the beginning of this like pandemic that I have now, or maybe I'm running out of steam. But what about you guys? Like, do you guys feel that? Or you guys like?
I wake up more tired than I was when I fell asleep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like I have long COVID. I mean, I don't have long COVID. Dude, I feel like I'm fucking just always want to take a nap. And I love napping. I'm not anti-napping, but dude, I went from having an energy level of 90% or whatever, 95% to like 60. I mean, almost half. Like it's really gone down my energy level.
You know what it is, man? At least over here, and actually for you as well, probably, I'm right next to NASA, dude. I mean, I could see the damn rockets go up from my house. You know what I'm saying? So, and I see them spraying trails every single day. There's new trails getting just crisscrossed and gridded across the sky. And who the fuck knows what kind of nanoparticulates?
Some bromine. You're getting some good nanoparticles. Okay. Here, I want to read this because when I'm done with this podcast, I got to finish adding some stuff to this. So I want to read. This is my speech tomorrow at City Hall. I'm speaking at the City Hall, and usually I do it online, but now you can actually go speak there, and I think that's just more effective. So I'm going to read my speech for tomorrow, and we talked about this a little bit, but I want to critique your opinion. Okay, so hello, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for allowing me this time to speak to you. Unfortunately, the subject that I have to speak about is very traumatic, with the new legislation brought forth by the Texas Supreme Court with the new heartbeat bill. Limiting abortions to 6 weeks is incredibly unconstitutional. Currently, I'm in a situation where I have 3 different women pregnant at the same time, and all 3 women, I would like for them to have abortions. Unfortunately, with this new heartbeat bill, we're unable to get the usual abortion that we often get. I don't like to use any protection whatsoever because it hinders my performance sexually. So that's why I depend on these abortions as a form of birth control. But now that the state is making it almost impossible to get an abortion, I'm going to be forced to change my entire lifestyle. Roe versus Wade made it very clear that abortions are totally legal, and I wish Dallas would take a page out of New York's rule book and approve late-term abortions up to 6 hours after birth. This would solve a lot of problems for expected parents that don't want to have the obligation of raising a child that they didn't plan for with money that they don't have. Although I'm perfectly capable of financially supporting a young child, I don't have the time or the ability to change my non-refundable vacations to Cabo San Lucas. I also travel internationally 6 times a year, and with multiple children, this could hinder my ability to travel. I know this may sound a little selfish, but my doctor prescribed and my psychiatrist both prescribed me an eat, pray, love lifestyle ever since the deaths of both of my first 2 wives. I sit here in front of the council today begging that you do something to reverse the unjust and unconstitutional abortion ban.
I like it.
Yeah.
I would add in there.
I'm going to add some shit. What should I need to add? That's what I'm saying. I'm not done. What do I need to add?
I would add in there that, since men can have babies, this is perfectly fine for you to say, because they're going to try to discredit,
Yeah, men can have babies.
They're immediately going to write you off, which you're like, oh, you can't. And then there was something else. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. It was...
I want to be able to have abortions. And people are going to be so sick. I hope like the right wing people are like, oh, they think it's real. This guy wants to have abortions. What a fucking sicko.
Dude, that's what shit. Since men can have babies, you're limiting my ability to get an abortion.
Yeah,
What if I get pregnant?
Oh shit, I should say that.
What
I'm
if
gonna
I
say
get pregnant, dude?
Yeah,
That's gonna wreck my body.
And you should, you might
Where's
also,
that thing supposed to come out?
you might also consider changing the terminology a little bit. If you know the birthing persons, remember, you don't want to be labeled a bigot right off the bat. So it's not just,
so should I say that? I will use birthing person. So what do I say? So I have 3 birthing persons pregnant instead of women. Oh shit. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I gotta change that. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
dude. That's gold.
Wow, yeah.
That's
Unfortunately,
gold.
I have 3 birthing persons. And I'll say instead of birthing people, instead of saying birthing people, I'll say birthing persons. Oh, this is gonna be great.
3 birthing persons, and then you're also, I'm risking my body since I'm a birthing person. Where's that baby supposed to come out of?
All 3 birthing persons. Wow.
I particularly like the push for the 6 hours post birth. That just says, woo, you know what I mean?
sets the tone of like really sick and demented. Okay, what I'm just thinking what else I could add, like I'm talking about my vacation. I'm trying to sound so insensitive. Like how can I sound even more insensitive to abortion? So because we have to irk people. We have to be like people on the left to be so offended by like somebody that would even want to do this like for their own. It's called what this is doing. What this technique is called. It's called astroturfing, where you take like this opposite side and you use their own crazy ideologies against them, where they're so pro-abortion. We're like, well, I want to be able to have 100 abortions a year because I want to get 100 girls pregnant. And a normal person, that's fucking sick. This person's disgusting, and that's why you're going to use their, well, according to you want to make everybody have an abortion, and like only less than 1% of abortions are due to rape or incest. So you're going to tell me all the rest of it, 99.8% of abortions are because people just didn't want to have the baby? I mean, that's what you want. You just want to, and I'm not even some person that you shouldn't have abortions whatsoever. Like I agree. Like maybe there should be a limit, maybe 2 months, maybe. But that, like in New York, they're trying to have late term abortion, dude. No, you gotta, at some point, it is a life. It's called a miscarriage for a reason, because the baby dies. I mean, it is a baby in there. And that's what the problem with society is. They treat it like,
I know what it was. I know what it was, the thing I wanted to add, or that maybe you should consider adding. Something about your birthing persons wanting to have babies so they could get Instagram baby clout, but they don't actually want the baby.
Okay, well, shit. I mean,
when
I could be like,
get pregnant just to get the baby pics on Instagram, just to get the clout. And
yeah, that's what I'll do.
Cancel that thing.
I'm going to be like, I've considered having the babies because I know that this would improve my Instagram following greatly and my amount of likes. I could say I've debated having children because I know that the Instagram clout would increase. But I'm also
if you can somehow squeeze the fact that bacterial life on Mars is apparently life, but this isn't, then if you could squeeze that in there somehow too, that might be a little.
That would go over their head. See, I want them to just be like, I want them to think that I'm serious. That's why.
Dude, what's crazy is like you were talking about astroturfing. There was a pastor I was listening to. His name's Vodi Bakum, and he was talking about the extremes that some people who are pro-abortion are, and their version of astroturfing. And I guess some lady had wrote an article about like when the right says that abortion is murder, she's like, I've had plenty of abortions and I do think of them as murders.
I know.
And she's like, if I could keep having them, I keep having the best murderous abortions ever. She was just like, it is murder, and Have
you not seen the TikTok videos of girls celebrating their abortions? Have you not seen that, Charlie?
Yeah, I've
Charlie on TikTok, bro.
I know you don't have to. I didn't see it on TikTok either. I saw, they reshared on other stuff.
That's what makes me sad.
Just Google TikTok celebrating abortion. It's triple viral. Girls like the pregnancy test positive. Like, I can't wait to go get my 4th abortion. All over TikTok, dude. It's a TikTok trend, Charlie. Jeez, abortion TikTok trend.
For the record, I'm pro-choice on everything, my friends. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the government has any fucking right telling me what I can or can't do, and that goes for everything. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm all about going to get abortions, because I do believe in the whole spiritual warfare thing. But the government doesn't have the damn right to tell me. You know what I'm saying? Period.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but that also goes to this, like, that libertarian mindset. I would love for the government not to exist, but me as a conspiracy theorist, I have to be based in reality and realize the government is going to exist. It existed before I was alive. It's going to exist.
yeah.
It's going to exist after me. Some sort of government. So it's like we have to figure out how to make the government work for us. Is that possible? Is that even possible? Yeah, I guess not. I think because it's too dysfunctional.
I think I was telling, is that the last podcast we did maybe or something? I was saying that back when in the Bible, when Israel was getting ready they like wanted a king for the first time. And God was like, you don't want a king. He's going to take all your stuff and he's going to take all your women and he's going to kill all your sons. And that's all he's going to do. And that's all they ever did. It's like they had one or two good kings. And they're like, dude.
Well, because they want someone. No, but it's still what's happening now. They want to idolize like Dr. Fauci, call him the sexiest man alive in my garden. They want to have a king. They want to have somebody that they think is like
that's
qualified.
Their God, dude.
Yeah, they just and all the person has to do is barely qualified. And a lot of times the person isn't qualified enough. No. But that's what they want. They want somebody to do the thinking for them.
That they need a high priest.
100%, dude. And that's why they had to make the that's why in Catholicism they had to, because the priests were banging everybody's wives, they had to make the priests celibate because they were banging everybody's wives.
So whenever everybody's sons.
Yeah, well, exactly. They're banging all the kids. I mean, that's going on. And then the Pope just had a thing where he came out today. I guess he had some sort of surgery, and he said this conspiracy thing. He said he knew that you got to look up the article because I'm going to misquote him. But out of his surgery, he knew that multiple people wanted him to die during surgery.
Well, if you don't say.
Yeah, and I just thought that was weird for him to say that comment. And like, I guess as a kid, you remember they'd always talk about the Pope mobile, and I don't know, like I don't know why the thing he needs a Pope mobile. I mean, I knew JFK got shot, but now realizing that I know about the Jesuits and the Catholic Church and all the sexual molestation, no shit, they have the guy in a Pope mobile. I mean, it's so rampant. No wonder they'd want to take a guy out like that.
That dude is untouchable, man. He's like the president.
Well,
he probably even more protecting the press. I feel like Joe Biden, because you know why I say that? It was like Joe Biden was freaking when he was in Europe or in the UK doing something. He was at some hotel and like random British people saw him and were kind of trolling him. You know, like, how you doing, President Biden? And whenever you try to answer them, some handler would get Biden out of there immediately. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like you can almost yell at Trump or Biden easier than you could yell at the Pope.
Oh yeah, dude.
The Pope is now pushing for the new religion of science. You guys see that? Like the new religion.
Yeah, you have to be vaccinated to visit. You have to be vaccinated. You have to have the green pass to go to the Vatican.
Well, he's an at-risk individual if anybody is.
Okay, well, this and
dude's ancient.
We can only say so much because we got to be pro-vaccine for the censors, but they're saying, the next push is they're going to, for the domestic air travel, make where you have to have a vaccine. But at the same time, American Air just came out today and said they will never, make a vaccination requirement for domestic air travel. What do you think that would do to the business? Because I would never fly again. Do you think it would just totally shut down the business? Because this is my question. The reason why I asked that, Las Vegas Raiders, the only team in the NFL where everybody has to be vaccinated or have a negative test. And I thought, the stadium would be like half full or something. It was totally packed. So I lost some of my hope in humanity. And America is the only place that's like not protesting. All these other countries are protesting.
Well, the CDC doesn't label anything as a breakout anymore. Yeah. So if you're vaccinated, nothing's a breakthrough now. So it's all, if there was a breakout there, because last year that was called, look at the any Trump rally, and it was like, oh my God, it's a super spreader.
Well, the worst is
now it's not, but it still happens, and they won't label it as it.
This is the biggest travesty. And they say that there are unvaccinated people that are getting hurt. But if you go to the hospital and it hasn't been 2 weeks since your vaccination, you are an unvaccinated person. So you're an unvaccinated hospitalization.
Worse.
So if you get the vaccine, I'm just saying, if you get the vaccine and get hospitalized within 2 weeks of it, you're not even a vaccine hospitalization. You're an unvaccinated hospital. It doesn't make sense. You just had the vaccine.
This is worse than that. Ready for this? If you get hospitalized within, I think, 28 days after a positive test, they count you as a COVID hospitalization. So I'm over COVID now. I just got a negative test yesterday. Don't ask me why I got the fucking test. I did though. And I tested negative yesterday. So if in, 3 weeks, I break my leg and go to the hospital, I am now a COVID hospitalization.
Well, no, it's even worse. That's why they made everybody in the hospital test for COVID. And obviously we know there's some, false positives, but like people that were in there for a hip, or whatever, for surgery, and they happen to be positive COVID. So that's a COVID hospitalization. So it's not just a person for the hospitalization for their diabetes, and they happen to have COVID. No, it's a COVID hospitalization. They're there for COVID is how it comes up.
Same
on
with the
data.
deaths, man. If you have COVID in the system, when you die, you're a COVID death. You could jump off the Empire State Building. I say this all the time, and you scrape your goop up off the floor, and if it's got a little Rona in it, man, it's a COVID death.
Well, you haven't heard Gabby Petito died of COVID. They're already saying that on the
Probably.
news. They say Gabby Petito. They
I
found
wouldn't be
her body,
surprised. I wouldn't
and
be
that she
surprised.
died of COVID. Her boyfriend didn't kill her. and
Well, it
that
doesn't
he's
help
innocent.
it doesn't help their cause, because like all the studies that are coming out is saying that even though we're at like 71% vaccination, the numbers are up 200% than when everyone was unvaccinated. It's like, you guys are doing the numbers wrong purposefully,
Charlie.
and it's not doing you any favors.
No, the worst is Israel, the most vaccinated place on the planet, is about to have its 5th wave. It's having the worst outbreak of the world. Places in Denmark that have no vaccine requirement, they have no COVID, dude. And Australia, New Zealand, they're locked down.
Haiti.
They have well, I'm saying New Zealand has 14. They're locked down because of 14 COVID cases, the whole country. So it's just, this is all tyranny. Nothing's based in science.
It's just
Trauma-based
dude,
mind control, dude.
you would
That's all
think
it is.
that they'd like be trying to fudge the numbers so like the deaths are going down as the vaccinations are going up, which would encourage people to get, but they're not.
Well, we're
it's like-
assuming that the lizards have a big brain. Lizards have small brains.
Well, no, I just think it's so bad now. At the beginning of the pandemic, like they were dying for COVID death articles. Oh, this person died of COVID.
Yeah.
Now just type in couple dies of COVID together. Like they have 1,000 articles of couples dying within minutes of each other with, from COVID. So I'm saying now I believe there actually are people dying. At the beginning of this, the hospitals were totally empty. And now I actually do believe they are a little more full because people are getting fucked up from the vaccine. I think it's clear. I mean, just the kids that have gotten myocarditis. There's been thousands of kids that have gotten myocarditis that would have never had a heart attack. Yeah, I could see a bunch of kids for the first time in history, a bunch of 12 and through 24-year-olds having heart attacks, causing a little medical strain, since that's never happened in the history of mankind.
Yep.
Well, apparently, like myocarditis in the youth is like, I don't want to say fairly common, but it's not like, oh, this is unheard of. Like, it happens.
And they say it's
at risk for it.
self-healing or something.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, but it's.
They say there's people like Leanna Wynn, when they brought up the myocarditis, she even said, oh, well, luckily myocarditis is oftentimes not very serious and oftentimes heals on its own, just goes, which is probably true, but still, dude, what the fuck is a kid going to the hospital for a heart attack? I mean, for a heart enlargement that can't, and there's multiple NCAA athletes. There's the Jets football player, the defensive line. I mean, he's taken out. But listen, everybody get it. It's safe and effective, and the Johnson & Johnson is what I recommend.
I'm 100%.
Don't use your brain out there, dude. You hurt yourself.
100% pro-vaccine here. I also love Joe Biden and the CCP. I love the CCP. In fact, they're like my favorite in the whole world. That's it, man. That's all.
And that goes to, I talked about this on Tinfoil Hat, and this is the thing. China, the whole Afghanistan scam is basically we're just giving that to China. So China can take over the poppy fields, and they're probably going to shut it down, so that they're going to rely on America to be dependent on their cheap Chinese fentanyl, and they're going to poison America from the inside out. And they're going to actually do what the Taliban wanted to do. That's what the Taliban always thought. They're going to infect their Sharia law, like from the inside out. But that's literally what's going to happen with the fentanyl. They're going to try to kill the youth, and I think that's really happening. They just said the CDC, they're having a meeting. They've had the most amount of drug overdose deaths just up into February 2021, the worst amount of drug overdose deaths in a 12-month history we just had.
Wow.
Sad, man. I know a few.
I listened to
from fentanyl, man. That's a sad. Me
too.
situation,
One of
man.
my good friends. Yeah, he died.
R.I.P. Prince, dude.
Well, a guy named Clark Gable. This guy was a party animal, dude. He did drugs. I would have thought the guy would never have died. You know what I mean? He was just a tough guy. Had a high tolerance. I would have thought. And supposedly he's just with his wife, took 2 pills that we thought were Vicodin. They were pressed with fentanyl, and they're too much. And he woke up, literally, the people always get mad when I say this, but he woke up dead. I mean, he took the pills and went to bed and never woke up.
Ooh.
That's rough, man.
Yeah.
That's
Do you
rough.
think that the China's maybe just running out of Uyghurs?
I don't know. I mean, see, that's another thing. I mean,
They're like,
probably
well, let's go over there. There's more.
Well, it's just not the same, dude. I mean, America, if we're poisoning them, it's because we're giving them iPhones or something. Like it's a different type of poisoning. That we're like poisoning with our bad culture of McDonald's and stuff. They're like, and I'm not even anti-Chinese, but they're like poisoning us with actual fentanyl, and they have all these shipping containers that for every one that they catch full of fentanyl, there's like 100 that make it through totally fine because customs can't check every
here's
shipment.
The thing. The company I used to work for, this company, we made arcade games and we manufactured them in China. So people that I worked with were always in China, and they were saying that like over there they hate Westerners right now like never before, even though they started this whole thing. They look at Westerners like the dirtiest people ever. They will not give them cab rides. It doesn't matter.
That's how they think. I mean, they think it's that bad.
It's that bad. Yeah, they literally, you get in the cab, they go, oh no, out.
I thought they would like white people, but they're really that. So they're kind of racist.
Like, you guys started this thing.
Wait, but are you saying that to Americans, or they're saying to Europeans that they're just
they don't care.
That's from the Western culture?
Yeah, Westerners.
Yeah.
They're not going to sit there and ask like, oh, where you know.
Well, I know, but you can kind of tell. Like, I imagine I sound different than a German guy. I feel like even a Chinese guy can figure that out.
We had guys from like different places in Europe. We had dude over there just from here, from Florida. Nope, they don't want anything to do with them. They don't want anything to do with them. They look at them like they look at us like we started it, and that's what gets me thinking. Like, I bet you they know. I bet you all of China knows Fauci paid them to do this thing, and it got messed up.
Well, that's a fact now.
Freaking white people.
They know.
I bet you they know for sure. They're like, oh, it's a white person. They did it. And it's like, we're over here acting like it's them. And they're like, we know what actually happened.
That was an accurate impression. You sounded very on point. You're good at impressions. But no, I was actually thinking this. It's like, I bet China, this is what they think. They think America is like either New York, Los Angeles, or Kentucky. You know, they either think we're just like all white trash inbred, or you're like live in LA or New York, or so, you know, you're some sort of
one of the people that like we corresponded with over there all the time. She wanted somebody to come over. I can't remember, some family member to come over and see America, and they didn't want to because they're like, dude, it's like a war zone over there. Everybody's killing each other over all the time. Everybody's got guns. Everybody's got guns. That is like,
doesn't sound that.
No, that's
cool.
not how America is. I'm sorry.
That's how it is in my house, boys.
Most of it's super boring.
Well, and you know, it's funny you say that because my buddy was just in LA, and like everybody's saying LA is so terrible, and I'm sure it is because the homeless crisis is bad. But dude, for everything I saw in his pictures, it looked just as nice as how I remember it. You know, he was in Venice Beach. There were some tents and stuff, but like my point I'm trying to say is how they say it on the news. It's never as bad as they say on the news, and it's never usually as good. Yeah, everything is sensationalized. Like when something good happens, it's obviously not, you know, the saving grace. The vaccine was not the saving grace, you know. No. And if something's really bad, it's not as bad as they say. It's somewhere. The truth is somewhere in between the lines. You have to read.
And that's what I have to like remind myself with conspiracies, because it's like it's fun to go all the way to 10, but it's like, yeah, it's probably something a little more boring than that.
Yeah, you know, but
it's a bummer, but it's like, yeah, it probably is just this.
Well, that's where that's like where I was talking about earlier, like the fake Matrix and real Matrix. Like everybody's saying the Gabby Petito thing is a hoax, but right now, like I say, from my independent research, which is a conspiracy nut tinfoil hat, it just looks like her social media has been around for a while.
Probably
so
real.
Just she seems like a real person to me. You know, so. Until I see more, even the 666 on the hand, even some of the weird stuff that I'm like, wow, that is some sort of signs and symbols that makes it look like a hoax. I'm still under the impression real shit does happen. Like, and not everything we have to be, you know, go total conspiracy nut, but I am a conspiracy nut. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm just saying the real shit does happen. We have to have some sort of medium.
I think hoax is just the wrong word. That I think hoax is like the new CIA term, like, you know, conspiracy theorist was a CIA term. So I think hoax is that as well. But I do think that there is some level of distraction or something. You know what I mean?
This is my point. Is fucking. I never got into Q. I never got into Q because of two things. Just Q said that somebody asked in one of the forums, and there was like this official Q post. Remember when like everybody's getting onto it, and I was late into it. And Q said that we landed on the moon. Somebody asked him and said, "Oh, it was real." And then I was like, oh, obviously Q doesn't know what's going on. The moon landings are provably false. I mean, they don't even have they don't even have the suit that can go from negative 200 degrees Fahrenheit to positive 200 degrees Fahrenheit in an instant. And I mean, they don't even have forget the space technology to travel in space and a rocket to push off a nothingness of space. We don't actually have a suit that can be tested for that environment here on Earth. So it's like, the fact that when they said that was real, I knew Q was a psyop. But one of my good friends, a guy named Luke Coffey, you can look him up. He got arrested. He's, his court case is going on now. He's totally into Q and went down and rioted on January 6th and picked up a crutch and kind of swung it in defense. And it, kind of like use it as like a barrier between him and the cops. And now he has a felony assaulting a Capitol police officer, and his whole life is ruined. And he's gonna have, he's gonna have to do some sort of time, like it's guaranteed, some sort of, they're gonna do it as, to prove a point. And dude, his whole life is ruined because of this Q psyop. So there is a thing where we get too deep in the rabbit hole, where we need to pull ourselves out, and we have to have some sort of we can get deep, we can all get into it, but at the same time, we have to realize our life is short. We can't we can't just keep our wheels spinning in this low vibrational conspiracy.
Yeah, you
world.
end up unarmed in some building, getting shot in the face by a cop who just gets off. It's like, okay, well, maybe that wasn't the place to be at that time, and it's like
where Q lost me
for either of them.
And that's when I was like, no, not trusting anything. Like that's the whole point. What are you going to tell me that the lizard people are going to arrest the lizard people? What?
Yeah, what was that? That was a psyop. Always trust the plan, and the plan wasn't even that clear,
Yeah,
it wasn't clear, and then it was always changing. It's just like any end times conspiracy guy. It's like, oh, it's gonna happen on this day. Well, the Lord was merciful, and it's gonna happen on this day. It's like,
but the
I don't
one
know, man,
good
it sounds
thing,
like you're just wrong.
The one good thing about Q, it did open up a lot of people and a lot of moms and stuff to the satanic ritualistic abuse, and how there are people like Dennis Hastert, who is a former Speaker of the House, who was a guy that was a Republican Speaker of the House during Clinton. And I think during Bush, I forget which president, but he was a convicted pedophile. So there is pedophile. There are important people like Jimmy Savile that are high up that do have a history of being child predators. Harvey Weinstein, some stuff
Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew, and what's going on with the, obviously the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. We're never going to ever get any closure.
Prince Andrew just got served papers, by the way.
And now his daughter's having a baby, and they say they're going to officially serve him the papers because his legal team is just stonewalling it and saying that he hasn't been served. But the problem is he knows he's guilty, so they're never going to go to court, and he's going to get away with it because even so, they have what is called diplomatic immunity. The media doesn't want to talk about this because they just suck the royal family's dick so much. But when Princess Diana, how she gets killed by the MI6s, when a British spy can operate in Italy or can operate in Paris, France, under what is called diplomatic immunity, and can assassinate an adversary. So what happened was when Princess Diana, after her car wreck with Dodi Fayed, they were under the impression that she was pregnant. And if she would have had a baby with Dodi Fayed, that means that that baby would have been half brothers with Prince Harry and Prince William. And that would have been a Muslim baby that would have had royal bloodline. They would not have liked that. So for Prince Philip, they say is that they had to kill her. Well, she was in the back right corner of the accident. She actually lived. It took over an hour to get her to from the scene of the accident to the hospital. They went by 14 different hospitals because MI6 agents were able to kill her. They're able to actually commit a crime in another country under total diplomatic immunity. An American diplomat ran over a kid drunk in the UK, and they want her to come back and face crime. She never will. So he's going to get away with it. After all that big roundabout way is that sadly he's going to get away with it. And this is we were saying, it's meant to steal our fucking loosh and think that we're going to get some sort of justice. And watch, it's going to be another turd burger with Ghislaine Maxwell. It's going to be a nothing burger, and we're just going to be sitting there with our dick in our hands.
That stuff.
If she's even in jail, she's a bitch now in jail.
Exactly. What is even going on with that?
It's crazy. How much time you got, Alex? I don't want to keep you all night. If you got,
well, no, I mean it's almost 8:00, so we got to wrap it up here in the next 4 or 5 minutes, if you guys don't mind. How long have you been going?
We're good, man.
A little over an hour. But like I said, I just don't want to keep you. I'll go all fucking night with you. But...
No, yeah, well, I know. Well, I just want to write that speech, and it's 8, and I'm gonna wake up at 6 in the morning and work out before on purpose. I know that because so I can get my mind ready. So I'm gonna be waking up early. I'm not gonna have a late night.
Oh, get that blood flow, bro.
Well, I haven't eaten dinner either, so I'm saying I'm gonna go
Not me
eat.
either.
I'm gonna get this freaking thing. I'm gonna get this speech perfect because it went semi-viral. Gavin McInnes, that I played the video. You guys need to watch it. It's on my social media. It's on Instagram. And I think you can find it on my YouTube too. But it's the last city council meeting. If you type in Dallas City Council meeting, I think it's the first video that comes up if you put by upload date because multiple people have posted it. But I talk about, transitioning my kids and my housekeeper, dying of COVID and how we should mandate the vaccine. So what I'm saying is tomorrow I want this to be my magnus opus. I want this to be, and they sent me an email. Like I signed up under a fake name. I'm not signed up under Alex Stein because they got mad at me last time. So I'm already stressed. I'm saying I'm a little stressed. I'm going to get there. I don't want anybody to recognize me. I'm going there under a fake name. And I'm going to say the biggest pro-abortion insensitivity speech has ever said in the history of a city council meeting. So I'm not stressed. I'm not stressed. Stress is not the word. I'm actually nervously excited is how I would describe what I got going on.
You're going to crush it.
Good luck to you, brother.
You're going to crush it. And I hope you do, bro, because that shit is hilarious.
Yeah.
Well,
and what are you going to do? They give me a platform to speak. I'm going to go take advantage of it.
Hell yeah, man.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on, man. It was a pleasure. We absolutely got to do it some more. It was
for sure. You guys got to come on my show.
100%. Anytime, man. You let us know. We'll make that shit happen. Yeah, I honestly, I've had in the last 5 days 2 big dreams of mine come true. I talked to Tripoli on Thursday. I'm talking to you today, so I'm just like, bang, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah,
oh wait, wow,
yeah.
that makes me feel good. But Tripoli is a real big deal. I love Sam and I really love Eddie Bravo. So he's a guy that's a comedian that is actually, awake to some of this stuff. And it sucks because like he can't even perform at the Comedy Store because he's not vaccinated. So I respect him for, staying true to his, having character, unlike all these other people that sell out for nothing. He actually has some integrity.
Yep. He's a champ, dude.
Yeah,
and you guys need to move your asses to Florida if it gets crazy. Because, hey, man, Florida, man, we got this shit locked down, bro. You know what I mean?
I know Orlando's nice. I was just in Tampa. And this girl, it was actually really nice. I mean,
she better been hot, dude.
She was hot. She's actually from Dallas. She was doing some sort of Pilates school out there. And like I said, I flew a Spirit Airlines flight. And when I tell you the round trip, I think it really was the round trip. I said 29. It was really $39 round trip. It was $19 one way. I mean, I've never had a flight that cheap. But I love Florida. You're right. But Texas isn't that bad. But Texas sucks too. We don't have legal weed. Y'all don't have legal weed in Florida. See, that's how we're fucked, guys.
We got medical.
We need, I know, but we need to when they need to decriminalize it or whatever. Even getting the med card. That's how it was in California. That's still cool. But in Texas, dude, they don't have you can get a medical now. They just if you have cancer or if you're like autistic or something. And so I'm about to go in there and say that I'm autistic. So I can
just get the stab and you'll be autistic.
Yeah, I know. Or I'll have Bell palsy. Well, what a good show. All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank y'all for having me on.
I really appreciate it, brother. Be safe.
All right. Peace. See y'all.